This one is dedicated to each and every one of you who appreciate a great glass of wine. You know what I mean?
It's Monday. Let's raise a glass to the beginning of another week. It's time to unscrew, uncork, or saber a bottle. And let's begin exploring the wine glass. Today, we're taking a deep dive into one of Italy's best kept secrets, the world of Franciacorta. While many of us know and love Prosecco, the sparkling wines of Franciacorta offer a different kind of magic, one rooted in tradition, unique terroir, and a dedication to craftsmanship that rivals the best in the world. Joining me is Lucia Barzanò, the fifth generation of her family to run Mosnel, a historic winery that has been a pioneer in this region for decades. From embracing organic farming to championing the indigenous grapes and crafting sparkling wines with incredible depth, Mosnel is a true reflection of the Franciacorta spirit. Please take a moment of your time to subscribe, rate, and review Exploring the Wine Glass. It's completely free, and it's the best way to let other wine lovers know about the podcast. Be sure to head over to the website, exploringthewineglass.com, to read my award-winning blog and to see what else I have been up to. And most of all, please tell your friends about the podcast. Slainte.
Give me the red wine. Give me the blanche wine. Give me the white wine. Every time.
Hey everybody, I'm Lori Budd, a UC Davis winemaking program, Spanish wine scholar, sommelier service, champagne and Côte d'Aron specialist, and a WSET Level 2 graduate. You can find Exploring the Wine Glass on all the socials, as well as your favorite podcast catchers. If you haven't subscribed yet, now's the perfect time to swipe, subscribe, rate, and review. Stay in the know about all things wine by visiting my website, exploringthewineglass.com. I promise I'll never tell you what to drink, but I'll always share what's in my glass.
So you and I can feel the vine. That was no brandy. That was no more.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Exploring the Wine Glass. Today, we are traveling back to Italy. We are tasting and talking Franciacorta, which those of you who follow me know that as soon as I hear that word and I see that bottle, I start to drool. It is such an incredible region that one day I would love to visit in person, but it is a great way to taste through the region is with these wonderful bottles. And I have a special guest today, Lucia Barzanò from Mosnel, Franciacorta. So welcome.
Hello, welcome. Hello, everybody.
Thank you so much for doing this. I know it's always difficult with the many time zones that we have to travel through to do this. So I appreciate you staying up late for this interview.
Yes, it's a pleasure for me.
Thank you. So before we even get really into the interview, for some people who don't know, for those listeners who might not be familiar, can you just explain to us where exactly Franciacorta is? What region within Italy is it? And give us a little description of the landscape, the soils, and why Franciacorta is so special.
Yes, so Franciacorta is a very little area. It's located in northern Italy, in Lombardy, and it's east of Milan. It's just 1 hour driving far from Milan, and it's the south of Lake Iseo, a small lake, and it's a really unique spot. And our vineyards are nestled between the foothills of the Alps and the lake. And this creates a kind of natural amphitheater, which is beautiful, but also very useful for the wines. So this geography gives us a very cool but temperate climate with great diurnal shifts. Like in this period, we have very hot days, but during the night, it's really fresh. And this is fantastic for the wine. And so it's a small area. It's more or less 250 square kilometers.
Eh, And that diurnal shift really allows that acidity to stay in the grapes, which is what we're looking for when you are picking for this wine, correct?
Yes, we need acidity, yes.
Yes. And so when many people, they hear the term Italian sparkling and they immediately just think Prosecco. So can you walk us through what really makes Franciacorta apart from Prosecco? Grape varieties, method, aging, what's those differences?
Yes, yes, this is a very common association, and we love that Prosecco has helped introduce people to Italian sparkling wine, but Franciacorta is a very different kind of sparkling wine. Um, we starting from the grapes, which are Chardonnay, Pinot Blanc, Pinot Noir, and Herbamat. So four grapes allowed, and then also the biggest difference is that Franciacorta is obtained with the re-fermentation in the bottle. So it takes a very long time to have one bottle of Franciacorta, minimum 18 months. And also it's you can appreciate these differences naturally in the tasting this wine.
So basically, the maybe a way to describe it is because of that, in addition to the grape difference, but the processing that Prosecco is done in a tank and kind of done in a
Mhm.
larger batch. So it's going to have a different flavor profile where Franciacorta is done in the bottle, similar to the Champenoise method. And so you're
Yes.
going to have more of that complexity in the aromatics closer to a champagne style wine, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay. And we see these things. I always, from the first time I tasted Franciacorta, I walked into a tasting in New York for Franciacorta, and that was actually my first introduction to it. And every table had these same glasses, these same beautiful, slightly tulip shaped glasses. And every time I see somebody drinking Franciacorta, it's in these same exact glasses. And so, can you explain why that shape is preferred and what does it do for the wine?
Yes, the glasses you've seen are the Franciacorta glasses. It's our branded glass. I mean, of the area, the whole area. And it's a sort of, we can say, wide flute, so wider than a flute. And this shape gives the wine more room to breathe and concentrate those delicate notes. And so you can experience the taste, the smelling and the tasting of the wine in the best way for us. That's why we choose this kind of shape.
And I will tell you that after that experience tasting Franciacorta that first time in those glasses, I have never had sparkling wine again in a flute. It is, I have,
It was
I
the same for me, yes.
It is the best experience to have that. And afterwards, I was like, why do we use a flute? This is so much
Mhm.
better. This is so much better to be in these glasses. And so I went out, I made my husband go get me glasses like that so that whenever I have it, and especially the Franciacorta, when I pour that, I'm like, yep, he's like, I know, getting those glasses, I know.
Yes, better to use a simple white wine glass. It's better than a flute
Right. And
if you don't have the Franciacorta glass.
Franciacorta. Right, right. But it really is impressive to me how the shape of the glass really does make a difference. And I find that with wines such as Franciacorta, you want to experience everything. There's some wines that are like, okay, we'll just put it in here. But if I'm going to pour this wine that I think is so beautiful and um, elegant and developed and just so incredible. I want to experience it as fully as I can. So the
Yeah,
glasses
I
are
agree.
wonderful.
Yes, totally
Yes.
agree. And if you consider in that glass, you can appreciate everything, the smell, but also the sound of the bubbles and also the aromas. Everything is at its best. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And so the Brute, Mosnel, that was what your family first started with Franciacorta. So can you tell us the story of your family? How did you get into this, the production of Franciacorta wine?
Yes, it was my mother, Emanuela Barzanò Barboglio, who started to focus we can say we can call it farm, the family farm. She decided to focus on the wine production.
Mm.
And we are speaking about the end of the 60s. So it was when the DOC Franciacorta was established in 1967. Yeah, at that time, my mother decided to focus on wine and to start the production of wine, or Franciacorta wine. And Franciacorta was a sort of dream of a small group of producers, of a small group of pioneers, and my mother was among them.
Oh.
And so she started. We can say that the farm already produced wine, but just for family and friends. And
Okay.
my mother decided to start a real winery, and she planted the first vineyards with following the Franciacorta rules. And then she started to produce the Franciacorta Brut, the one you have shown us, in 1979.
Oh, okay.
So it was our first Franciacorta, and we can say that it's the same as in 1979. So the cuvée is the same. We only add a new grape in this cuvée, the one you have there. So the blend is Chardonnay, 60%, Pinot Blanc, 30%, and we have more or less 9% of Pinot Noir and 1% of Herba Mate, which is this ancient grape that we reintroduced to Franciacorta. And it's a very interesting opportunity for the area.
And the Evermont, that was not originally allowed. Is that correct? That was not originally allowed
This grape,
in.
you mean?
Yes. Was it always allowed to be within the wine in Franciacorta, or is it something that was added later on?
Sorry, I forgot some
For-
words. You mean Herba Mate is
yes.
yes, Herba Mate was reintroduced, so was first introduced in the Franciacorta rules more or less 10 years ago.
That's
It's an ancient grape, but it was it disappeared. It quietly disappeared and was reintroduced more or less 10 years ago. And it's really interesting because it has a very high acidity and it helps facing the climate change.
Oh, okay. And when your mother started the winery, did what was her goal at that point? Was it just to like start the wine, or what is your production now?
Now we have 42 hectares of organic vineyards, and our production is more or less 250,000 bottles a year in 9 different kind of Franciacorta. And it's difficult to say what my mother was thinking about, because everything was new and everything was a sort of challenge. So it was her and really a bunch of pioneers dreaming of this great Italian sparkling wine. And now I can say that this dream uh, come true.
True. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, I love the fact that, I'm sorry, I love the fact that it's a female at the helm and, you know, a driving force. And that is something that is very intriguing to me. In Italy, in Spain, there's so many women in the forefront. And here we're lagging in the United States. It's tough for us females to get, you know, to get up there. One of the things that I always say when I interview a female winemaker is, you know, they win these awards as a female winemaker. And I'm like, but you're a winemaker. Why are we,
Yeah.
you know, separating this? That's not done outside of the United States. And so I always love I always love hearing the women roar when they are in charge. It's fantastic.
Yes, yes, she was a great woman, a great person.
Yes. And you said you produce 9 different Franciacortas. Are there 9 categories? Because in all honesty, I only knew about the 3.
Yes, we have different kind. So the category are brut. Then we have a pas dosé, a brut nature. Also, we have a brut rosé, Satin, and then we have the top wines, which are a very small production and mostly sold in Italy.
Okay.
And these are millesime.
Oh, okay. I did know that. I did know that term.
Mhm.
Okay. Wonderful. And so Mosnel has always embraced Pinot Bianco in its blends, and now you've introduced the Herbamat, and you said that it increases the acidity, that the grape itself increases the acidity.
Yes, yes. So Pinot Blanc was always part of our DNA, because my mother loved the Pinot Blanc, and also because it's very interesting in the blend. So it adds a lovely floral lift and also a creamy texture, and also um, it also makes it deeper. So it's very interesting, Pinot Blanc. That's why we have 15% of our vineyards in Pinot Blanc. And Herbamat is is a very acidic grape. It also has a late harvest, because we pick it up at the end of September, so 1 month later than the other grapes, and with a very big bunches, and also a very high acidity. So you can't taste Herbamat alone. 100% Herbamat is really acidic. And also, in fact, we are allowed to use it at a maximum of 10%
Oh,
in
okay.
our blends. But it's very interesting to add acidity because we are facing a very hot summer, and so we need acidity, or surely in the future. Now
Right.
it's still good, but it's becoming hot and hot.
Right. And so when you decided to put the herba mat into it, did you already have those plantings, or now have you increased the plantings for the future?
So we are we are at an experimental stage with Herbamat, because if you consider in Franciacorta we have more or less 10 hectares of Herbamat, and we
Oh,
have yes, it's a very small. Um, quantity, but a very interesting opportunity. That's why we planted one of these 10 hectares. So this is our herba mate quantity in this moment. We are experimenting. We are trying to know better the characteristic of this grape, and so in the future we think to have more of it.
And is your when you're doing your blending, is it basically every vintage is a different percentage? You're blending it. It's not a formula, let's say, correct?
It's not a formula, that's it. But for the non-vintage brut, for example, we try to have a standard. No, we can. It's not a nice word, a standard, but we try to make it very constant in year after year, because it's important for a non-vintage to have a style, to have a specific characteristic, and you have to find this characteristic year after year. That's why more or less we use the same blend. The difference is because it's a non-vintage, we use a percentage of older wines, so different vintages, to balance and to make it as the more stable in time, we can say.
And the grapes themselves, as they're aging, are they in stainless steel? Are they in oak? How are you aging
Mhm.
the wine basically before you're
Mhm.
doing your blending?
Yes, we have a mix of steel tanks aging, and also a percentage of oak fermentation and aging, and it depends on the category of Franciacorta. For Franciacorta Brut, we have the 30% of the wine, which is fermented and aged in oak barrels.
Your winery, Mosnel, was among one of the first to believe in organic grape growing within Franciacorta. So, what motivated that decision early on? And what do you see as the biggest benefits in both the vineyard and then how it translates into the glass?
Mhm. So it was both a personal and a philosophical decision, and it was my brother Giulio and me who decided to start with at the beginning with experimentation with organic farming, and it was at the beginning of the 2000,
Okay.
at the beginning of the 2000. And after this experimental stage, we decided to have the certification, and we were able to have the certification in 2014. And it was because for us it's very important to respect our land, and also the health of those who live here and near us, and also our family. We live and we were born here, and we always live here. So it's our house, and it's important for us. And for us, it has a very it has different important uh, motivation, and it's because it makes healthier soils. We see that the soils are getting healthier, and also more resilient vines, also the single plants, and also a stronger sense of place in the wines. So you can read the characteristic of the area of the terroir, and also a really authentic expression of the grapes and the characteristic of the soil.
And is there requirements to how you farm and harvest within Franciacorta? You're going above and beyond than what is required, or are there not requirements and you're just doing what you feel is correct?
Yeah, you mean for the harvest or for everything?
So, like, you know how different regions have specific regulations of
Oh,
how you farm and when you harvest and how you do that. Are there regulations in Franciacorta that
yes,
require
there are.
specific things?
Yes, in Franciacorta there are a lot of regulations, and it's one of the strictest regulation of the world, in terms of density of plants per hectare, in terms of also quantity of grape you are allowed to harvest, also quantity of must you are allowed to obtain from your grapes. So everything is very strictly regulated. And for the harvest period, there is a sort of low emanation from our regione, who allowed who define the beginning of the harvest or the period of the
Okay.
harvest, and then we can pick the grape just by hand, no machine allowed. And also, yes, there are a lot of strict regulation.
But organic farming is not necessarily a requirement. It's you going beyond and the belief of what is better for your fruit and your wine.
Yes, that's it. Yes.
Okay. And so we've introduced the brute, but let's talk about these categories because there are more regulations allowing you to put a specific category onto or a classification onto each bottle. So we'll start with the brute.
Mhm.
And so tell us about this wine and the kind of regulations in terms of aging it. Um, Walk me through each of them
Okay.
in that
Mhm.
category.
Yes, Franciacorta Brut can be obtained by Chardonnay, Pinot Blanc, by a blend of Chardonnay, Pinot Blanc, Pinot Noir, and Herba Mate. So it has to age on the lease a minimum period of 18 months. And the brut category means, it's a quantity of sugar that is till 12 grams
That's
of residual sugar. So we decided at the Mosnel, we decided the blend, as I was telling you before. And normally our brut ages on the lease for a minimum period of 30 months, so a longer period than the required. And the residual sugar is 3 grams of sugar, so a very low dosage that is our personal taste.
taste. Yes.
Yes.
And that 30 months minimum on lease that you prefer to do significantly well beyond what is the minimum requirement. So that in terms of dollar wise, you're holding on to that wine quite a bit longer than you need to. So there has to be a reason. So what do you see as that extended lees aging to the texture, the aromas, and the complexity? And now, a word from our sponsor. Did you know that Dracaena Wines has a wine club? We named it the Chalk Club. Draco is on our label, but Vegas was getting a bit jealous, so we decided he deserved to be our wine club spokesdog. In Las Vegas, betting chalk means that you are betting on all of the favorites, and we're gambling that once you taste our wines, we will become one of your favorite wineries. The club is simple yet a bit different than most. We don't ask for a lot of commitment like others do. Choose between 3 tiers, the Sweet 16, where you will receive 3 bottles twice a year and get 15% off all orders. Sign up for the Elite 8 and get 20% off all orders and receive 4 bottles twice a year, or make it to the Final 4 and receive 6 bottles twice a year, as well as receiving 25% off purchases. All tiers receive discounted shipping, are customizable, and are eligible for unlimited referral bonuses. Add $15 to the bank for each person you refer. Head to www.dracenowines.com to use the link in the show notes to find out all the Chalk Club has to offer and to sign up. We've stacked the odds so that you can get our award-winning wines without breaking the bank.
Yes, it's tasting in the past years, tasting our wines. We found that they have a very special attitude to aging, to maturation on the lees, and they have a very long life. And that the motivation is because our area in Franciacorta, if you consider Franciacorta, our vineyards are in the northeastern part of the area. So we have more the influence from the pre-Alps than the influence of the Iseo Lake. And so we have a fresher climate, and this fresher climate together with our soils give a very long-lasting wine, and with a very special attitude to aging. And so that's why we decided to make longer aging, and the result is really interesting for us, and it expresses very well the characteristic of our wines.
And so you said that the Brut has 3 grams of residual sugar. Is there a category that technically is less than a Brut? Because we like in the Prosecco world and or even in Champagne world, we have the Brut, we have the extra Brut, the Brut Natural, so
yes,
Brut is
we
relatively sweet.
Yes, we could call it extra Brut, but we decided to maintain the category, the Brut category that was the first one.
I was going to say, due
yes,
to
it's a
the
sort of
historical
tradition.
significance,
Yes,
right? Historical
yes.
significance.
And also this trend towards always drier product is quite a recent trend, because it started 10, 15 years ago, and so we are going towards drier wines, and but we decided to maintain the name Brut.
Right. All right. So now let's talk rosé. So is this a newer category also? Newer in terms of Franciacorta? Has there always been a
No,
category
it
for?
was it's this category is since the beginning, and it has to be a blend of Pinot Noir, Chardonnay, Pinot Blanc. Pinot Noir has to be in the blend at a minimum of 35.
35%.
And for Franciacorta Brut Rosé, the minimum aging required is 24 months on the list. And in our rosé, we decided to blend 40% of Pinot Noir, 40 Chardonnay, and 20 Pinot Blanc. And the Chardonnay, 60% of Chardonnay is fermented and aged in oak barrels as well, and also the aging on the lees is 24 months, and it's a brut and 4 grams of residual sugar. So it's in the driest part, in the driest taste.
Yes. And so is bergamot not allowed in the rosé, or you just choose not to put it in there?
If I don't mind, it's not allowed. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
And then we have satin.
Satin, yes. Satin is a very special kind of Franciacorta because
It's vintage.
it's a vintage in our case, and this is a personal choice to make a satin, a vintage satin. But satin is a style unique in Franciacorta because it's made. It has 3 rules, and so it has to be obtained by white grapes, so Chardonnay and Pinot Blanc. Then it has to be a brut, and it has a lower pressure, so it's 4 bars instead
Okay.
of 5, 6 bars, and so very fine and tiny bubbles, very smooth, very creamy, and so it's both it's a taste sensation and also tactile sensation, because you have these very, very fine bubbles on the tongue. And it's a very unique product because the term satin is the trademark of Franciacorta, and is very, very interesting and very gastronomic.
It's kind of
And
more silkiness,
it's
right? It's
silkiness,
silkiness.
yes.
It's like the
Smooth, silky, yes. And Mosnel satin is a 100% Chardonnay. We decided
okay.
to use just Chardonnay to have a millesimato, and in that case we have 2020, and it has 60% of aging, fermenting and aging in barrels, and then minimum 3 years of aging on the lees.
Oh, okay. And then so this is a 2020, so you're beyond the
Yes.
regulation again.
Yes, beyond, because for satin, the regulation requires 24 months as well, minimum. But we are minimum at 36 months, yes.
And so in the press release that I received, it said, quoting, "We've always worked to communicate our connection with the land through the quality and enjoyment of the wine." So how do you see this philosophy reflected in the bottle and in the visitors, in the visitors that come to see you?
Yes, as that quote really speaks from our heart, and we see that wine. We see wine not just as producers, but not just as a product, but as a story to tell, and to and also a place, a vintage, and a family. So when guests visit us, we want to feel this, to make them feel this connection to the place, to the people working there. And when you are working through the vineyards and tasting our wines, or for example, enjoying a picnic under the trees in our vineyards, and so you can experience the wine itself. You can experience what does it mean to have a Franciacorta wine, and this connection to the places and to places and people is very important for us.
And so are you open daily? Can people walk in? Do you expect to have reservations? How can
Mhm,
people visit you?
mhm. We are open daily, yes, and we you need to reserve to book the visit and in our website, so it's very easy to book, and we have normally three slots per day, including Saturday and Sundays. So
So
we are very happy to welcome visitors.
right. So 3 slots a day. So that to me says that it's a very personalized experience, that you are really focusing in on that enjoyment of the wine and the experience that these people have as they come in. That's really a focus for you.
Yes, it's really a focus, and for us is you have to live the full experience to understand and appreciate really our wines.
Wonderful. And it says on on your website that you offer vineyard walks, picnics, vertical tastings. I love when there's a vertical tasting, and seasonal events. So what talk me through what is, are they able to just walk the vineyards on their own? Is it a guided tour through the vineyard?
Mhm. So we normally our vineyards are all around the winery, so it's really easy to join them. And normally, in twice or three times a year, we organize a picnic. So you have to book your menu. You choose your
Okay.
menu, and we give you a backpack with all the necessary for the picnic, with a
Oh,
bottle of Franciacorta Brut and two glasses. And also, if you need thank
oh,
you,
blanket.
blanket, so you need a blanket to sit on the grass in our vineyards. And then you can walk and search for the place you prefer to have your picnic. Or we organize also some walking through the vineyards with the explanation of the season of what is happening in the vineyard in that period. Yes.
That sounds wonderful. That sounds so beautiful.
Yes. So
Sitting,
it's the
sitting on
best
a
way.
picnic blanket, enjoying
uh,
Franciacorta.
yes, it's the best way to enjoy Franciacorta for us.
So tell me about the vertical tastings. So
Mhm.
the Satin is vintage. Do you have other wines that are also actual vintages, or are they
Yes,
all the Satin?
we have also 100% Chardonnay, very important millésime, which is dedicated to my mother. And it is called EBB, which are her capitals,
Okay.
Emanuela Barzanò Barboglio, and is a very special wine. And also we have a Rosé Padosé millesimato, which is called Parosé. And also, we often organize vertical tasting of normally these three wines, so or Satin or EBB or Parosé. And yes, it's interesting. Normally we send a newsletter to our community to invite them, and so they can enjoy this experience.
Yeah, it's always, I love those verticals because I think that it really truly allows you to experience Mother Nature more so than anything else, because that's really, if it's the same winemaker, the same winery, it's kind of the same philosophy. Therefore, what's making the difference from one vintage to the next is really Mother Nature, the
Yes.
rainfall, the sunshine, and all of that good stuff. So,
Yes, it's interesting, and also you don't have to forget the time. So time is a really important ingredient in our Franciacorta, and in fact we will organize vertical tasting better to call it horizontal tasting of
Oh,
our
okay.
brut, even if it's not a millésime, but we are going to taste different degorgement of the brut, going back in 5-6 years with the brut. So it's very interesting to taste how time works even on the Franciacorta brut.
That's fantastic. I bet people must like their minds must be blown when they taste these wines there. It must be fantastic. It
Yes,
really is.
for sure.
Wow. Wow. And so we talked about the journey of Mosnel, but can you tell me a bit about your own journey into the wine world? Like what drew you back to say, yes, I'm going to continue the family winery? And what do you see as the defining moment thus far for you in the wine industry?
Mhm. Yes, I grew up here, surrounded by vineyards, and also looking at my mother, who was really involved in this building of Franciacorta brand. And at the beginning, I was not so involved. Yeah, I was a little bit scared about this kind of involvement, this kind of commitment. And so I went to Milano and studying and thinking about other kind of life. But it was in 1996 when my mother asked me for help for different kind of tasks, and then I started to help her in different kind of things, also picking up the grapes. And then I literally fell in love with this world, with this product, and with this quality of life also.
You think she did that on purpose?
Probably. She tried.
You know, a
Probably,
lot of
yes. But
people, she's like, I'll get her back. I know
mm.
what to do. Do you prefer being in the vineyard or in the winery aspect of it, or equally
Oh,
so?
equally, I can say, because I love to walk in the vineyards during the whole year in the different season, and also in the winery there are a lot of very fascinating work, and also a lot of aspect, the very small aspect that are very important. If you put them together, they are very important.
Absolutely. You can't have these wonderful wines if you're not paying attention to the minute details. Because as you
Yes,
said, they stack up, they fit together. That jigsaw puzzle comes together to make these incredible wines. And you can't be missing a single piece, then the puzzle's not good anymore, right?
that's it. Okay, thank you for helping me in expressing this concept.
Right. Um, so where do you see Mosnell in the next decade? So we've got to this point, you've taken over. Where do you want to see it going? What would make you happy to put your footprint onto this?
Mhm. For sure, we would like to be more and more committed in sustainability, and real sustainability for the quality of life of our children, first of us, and also of the people living here near us. And also for us to have a very high quality on wines, thanks to sustainability. And then also we are working hard on offering a very interesting and unforgettable experience for visitors, and thinking of new kind of experiences. And also, we are working hard on our brand, on the reputation and the perception of our brand. So we are not going to increase the production. So
Okay.
this is our size. We don't want to increase the number of bottles. We feel comfortable in this size, and working on quality and on offering the best experience and also emotions tasting our wines.
I do think that that's the key to today's society of drinking wine is the experience. Everybody wants the experience. I was talking last night to somebody. I was like, it used to be you just bellied up to a bar, they poured you a glass of wine and you tasted it and you moved on to the next one. And now everybody wants that experience, that sitting in the vineyard, having that picnic is must be incredible. And I'm envisioning like at a sunset, when
Mhm.
the sun is getting ready to just go down and under those vines, it must just be incredible. It really something that they're
Yes,
going to
yes.
remember forever.
Yes, I think this is the aspect that make these wines unique, and also that makes the difference.
Yeah. And do you use all of your fruit or do you also sell some of your fruit to other?
Normally, we use all our fruit, and we choose the best one. It depends on the harvest.
Mhm.
If we have a big production, yes, we sell something, probably the third part of the pressing, but and we just use our grapes. We don't buy anything.
So 100% estate.
Yes.
And
Mhm.
are all of your vineyards right there around your home
Yes.
area? Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Wonderful. And so if someone was listening and is pouring their very first glass of Franciacorta, first I'm going to say, yay, you're going to fall in love. But secondly, like, what do you hope they take away? When they pour a glass of Mosnel, what do you want them to experience when they take that first sip?
They notice the finesse and the balance. Balance is one of our key words because it's very important. And the balance in a glass of Franciacorta is not so easy. You have to balance the carbonic, the acidity, the sugar. So it's quite difficult, but it's a very important goal for us, balance. And also, it has to be uh, for us, Franciacorta offers both complexity and also an appealing is on the palate. So a very drinkable glass. So you have to drink it to not to sip, but to drink, and responsibly, not having too much glasses. But I think drinkability is very important, and also yes, it gives joy and emotions also, and it's something that is very often that people tasting our wines report this kind of feelings, and so it's very important for us.
Right. And you did bring up the difficulty, that balance of the carbonation, the bars, the pressure that is in there. Um, how do you make sure, for the satin, how do you make sure
Mhm.
it's
So
the
it's
four bars versus the more?
this is very interesting question because it depends on the quantity of sugar you add when you bottle Franciacorta. So it's a mathematic question, and you have to add less sugar when you bottle in the liqueur.
Okay.
And so less sugar develops less carbonic. So it's a technical aspect.
Yes,
But
it is a
we are,
mathematical.
yes, yes,
It's a lot of spreadsheets is what it is.
yes.
Yes. I'm honored to be able to share your story and let other people experience this, and it will be on social media. But thank you so much. I know it's difficult, the different time zones to get it organized. So I appreciate the organization and you coming on and sharing your wines and your story with me.
Thank you very much to you. It was really a pleasure and an honor. And I hope to see you soon in Franciacorta for a picnic or a vertical tasting or whatever you prefer.
I would
It
love
would be
to.
really, really nice.
I would love to. Hopefully, I do get the opportunity to come visit, and I would love to visit you and experience
Okay, thank
your
you very
estate.
much.
Okay. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
And have a nice day for you.
Yes, and you have a nice evening.
Yes, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Irish.
This has been another episode of Exploring the Wine Glass. Thanks for listening. If you have suggestions on what topics you would like me to discuss, please reach out on social media. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook as Exploring the Wine Glass. I am also on LinkedIn as Lori Hoyt-Budd. Of course, you can always email me at exploringthewineglass@gmail.com and sign up for my newsletter at exploringthewineglass.com. If you enjoyed what you heard, please rate, review, and subscribe to help others find me more easily. And most importantly, tell your wine-loving friends, because if you like the podcast, they will too. Podcast music is Wine by Kevins. Until next week, Slainte.
There is always time for a good glass of wine. No, no, no. Oh, no, no, no. Never let you go. Oh, oh. No, no, no. Never let you go. Oh, oh. I want a nice glass right now.